Transformers of Eternia.
You're watching Transformers of Eternia. Now today I want to take a look at some of these images of some of these Transformers that are coming out soon. All the images from the Cybertron Con 2024. But before I do that, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. And thank you for checking out my channel. Now back to the show. Okay, so what we got here is a Waspinator. Using that Transformers animated Bumblebee mold, I guess, here, and it looks actually pretty good. The paint looks really nice on this one. I like the head and everything, and this is obviously Waspinator before he turns more Wasp, like a Predacon, you know, Insecticon type of thing in the cartoon. But this is pretty cool. I like the paint job and everything. It looks like Waspinator from the cartoon, only in a newer generation style mold. But yeah, I'd like this, and I mean, this guy's pretty small because I know that Bumblebee is pretty small. But yeah, this looks cool, and this is a good start, I guess, to all these figures that I got to talk about. Okay, so we got Red Alert here, and this is from the Armada style stuff. And once again, we don't get a Minicon, of course, but this is, I think, a Voyager scale figure. And this actually looks like Red Alert and everything. There's nothing that stands out as different about this, really, other than the Minicon being missing. And I really feel like I have to get this because of that PlayStation 2 game that came out a long time ago that I played this guy, Hotshot, and Armada Optimus Prime in that game, and that was really fun. And I really hope that they can maybe someday re-release that or remaster that and make it better. But yeah, this is awesome. This looks like him. We had a little glimpse of this guy right before this, where we could kind of see like somebody got the mold from the factory or something, where we could already kind of see how this thing is going to look. But yeah, this looks like Red Alert. I don't really have anything to say other than that. I mean, it's clearly Red Alert. You could tell. But he looks pretty cool. Okay, so we got Solus Prime, and this is a deluxe. So this is our first actual, well, I guess not the first image that we've seen of a Prime, of one of the 13 Primes, but this is the smaller one, I guess. Anyway, this is a Voyager, or a deluxe, I should say. And it looks pretty good, actually. It seems almost strange that they have that skirt piece on this figure, but she did have that in some of the designs, so it does make sense that they do that. It just looks weird because it looks like this additional part that doesn't look like it's transformed almost. But when she's like posing and stuff, it actually looks cool. And she comes with that hammer, which is awesome. But yeah, of course she transforms. I don't think the 13 Primes actually transformed very much. Like, I know the Fallen transformed in the War Within comic, but this is just interesting the way she looks. I like the vehicle form. But anyway, that's pretty much everything for her. Okay, so we got here Prima Prime. Some people say that this is not a Prime or something. I've heard somebody say that that's Prima is not a Prime or something. I don't know. But it says on the box, it says Prima Prime. So that's what I'll just say he is. Anyway, speaking of this guy, we got a little glimpse of this guy too from somebody leaked it out of the factory or something. I don't know. But we've seen a picture of this before without a head and all that stuff, and it was like miscolored and all that. But now that we get to see it in its actual color, where it's all white and gray and all that, I think he looks really good. And the matrix of leadership can go in his chest, just like also it can go on his sword, which is really cool too. And I actually like the vehicle form on this one. The vehicle looks pretty good. It looks like some kind of like a moon vehicle of some kind. It's like some kind of a truck that you drive around on the moon or something, which is very cool. And this is a Voyager scale figure, so that's even nicer. So it's good that they're doing these 13 Primes, because I think this is a good looking one to have on the shelf alongside Solus Prime and the other Primes. Okay, so we got the Fallen, or Megatronus, And this one obviously was one of the 13 primes, the one that's on fire, the fallen, basically the robot equivalent of Satan that fell from the council or whatever. Anyway, the way that they make it sound. But we got box art from this. I've talked about this in other videos, so I don't really want to hit on this too much. But like I said before in the past, I have to get this one. Out of all the primes, this is the one that I've always wanted. Especially the fact that this guy actually has flames coming out of him, which it looks really cool. It gives him more of a villain look. And I mean, his tank mode without the flames on it in that picture doesn't look great, but with the flames on it, it actually looks pretty cool too. But the tank mode is kind of just bland. It doesn't matter because most people are going to have this in robot form anyway. And this is a leader class figure, so it's going to be a Voyager scale, I guess, but it's beefier. It's got a few extra parts, this, that, and the other thing. But I think this looks cool because this is the war within the Fallen, and I always thought that design was very cool. Moving on. Okay, so we got Slingshot here, and he is a deluxe figure. Obviously, we're getting into the combiner stuff now, the stuff that everyone wanted to see when they, I think, checked out this video, and a lot of people want to know more about this stuff, including me. I'm really interested in how they're going to do 2 combiners in the same year. That's a lot of Transformers that they're going to try to sell us. That's a lot of money, too. But anyway, so Slingshot looks good, considering that we couldn't get him really easily in the Combiner Wars collection, which sucked. But now they're actually doing it right, and they're actually giving us Slingshot right away in the beginning, it seems like, so that's nice. This guy looks a little pudgy and kind of rounded. His jet mode is like a little short, it seems like, but it's a jet mode, I guess, and the robot figure looks great. So, I mean, this guy just looks like he should, I guess. And I think he's probably a little bit better than the Combiner Wars version of him anyway, because at least this one, the feet can actually do angles and kind of pose better. So here's the other one, and this is Air Raid. So Air Raid looks good too, considering that he looks like Air Raid. He's supposed to look this way. And of course, you know, they have that look on, like the vehicle is on top, you know, and the robot's kind of folded up underneath. That's what they always did. So, I mean, that's what they're doing here too. But Air Raid in robot form looks good. The jet looks okay. I mean, none of the jets in the aerial bots were really authentic looking, realistic jets, but they look good enough, I guess. And he looks great. I mean, I just can't wait to see these guys all combined together to form Superion. But like I said, I hope that we can find all of these in the store, considering that we have the Constructicons to collect, and that's already 6 figures, and that's going to be a lot, I think, for 12 months to collect all these things and to try to find these things in the window that they give us. But we'll find, I guess we'll see. We'll see what Hasbro's, how they're going to get people to be able to get this stuff, because the stores don't have distribution very good anymore. So let's see if we can actually get our hands on this stuff, because we're going to have to pre-order it online if we can get it online. So here's the next one, okay? Silverbolt. This is the Commander class as well for 2025. So this is the second Commander class, considering we get the Devastator Commander class for the Studio Series. So this is going to be an expensive year for these two. To buy these 2 things is going to be nuts. So anyway, Silverbolt looks like Silverbolt. The box art looks really good here, and it does show you how it all works on the back. Much like Motor Master, he came with the trailer, and he had those parts that basically make the combiner parts. You put the other figures on the legs and the arms and all that stuff, and you form the giant combiner. And this one also has the parts that turns like into a, I don't know what that is, a blockade where he has a gun, I guess. And then the jet he turns into has an addition, which is extra parts that make up the body for the combiner, which I thought they would do that anyway. I mean, they could have surprised us and had like a alternate jet that had like a undercarriage that goes on this thing or something. I don't know. But instead, they went the generic route and just kind of gave us extra parts for the big jet because they had to figure out a place to put all that stuff, I guess. So that's what they did. But it looks good, and I mean, I don't think it looks bad. But Silverbolt himself, I think he looks pretty good here. I mean, he looks a little dull, like it's not shiny really. It's like a off-white color. But I think that looks about right for him. He's got that gold and stuff. And I think that once we get it in our hand, I think it'll look better, honestly. I like his jet form without all the kibble and stuff that they add to it for the combiner parts. I like his actual jet mode. It looks good. I mean, it does have the undercarriage full of, where his body basically folds up under the jet, which I always hated that. I wish they could figure out a way to make it more smooth. But the original cartoon kind of had that, and everything had that. Like the original toy had stuff like that. So I guess we're just going to redo what they already did. But he looks good. He looks like he's supposed to. I mean, these guys are kind of boring looking Transformers, but you want them because you want the combiner part of it. So you just have to kind of get this. And I knew that they were going to do this eventually because they already did the Stunticons. So I thought for sure that they're going to do Silverbolt and the Superion and, the aerial bots. So I figured that's definitely coming next. And so here it is. And it looks good. I don't know. This part of it, I like the figures individually as robots and as their jets. I don't like the extra components for this one where he's got that extra parts that from the combiner stuff. I don't really think I would ever put that on him, honestly. I think that I would just kind of hide that away until he's combined into Superion. But this looks very good as the individual robots, and they look accurate to the cartoon from what I could see. So that's good. But this figure he's basically a Voyager figure with a lot of stuff. And here is Superion in his form before he has all the parts on the actual legs and arms. And much like Motormaster and his trailer, when they all combine, that's basically what you're getting here. And I'm sure it's the same height as Menasor was. So you're getting combiners now that are smaller than they used to be. Well, I don't know about smaller, but they're a little bit more bulkier, but they're a little bit more they feel smaller. But this looks good. I think everything looks right, and I just wish I could see every single thing on it. And notice how the jets on the legs actually go up on the back of the leg instead of on the front. I think that's what it did in the cartoon, if I remember correctly. And it just seems weird looking at it now because I don't know. I don't have the cartoon in front of me to see how he looked in the cartoon, but I'm pretty sure that's what he did in the cartoon. So anyway, you get the jets on the arms that they kind of come apart to form the arm, which is nice. And the only thing I don't like is the fists on the Superion. They look weird. It's like they just kind of ran out of ideas for the fists, so they just kind of molded them. Maybe there's just so many parts for this that it actually was overdoing it, so they had to cut costs somehow. So they just kind of did the fists in a generic way. Because I don't think that Menasor had his fists like that. It seems like his fists were different, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, this is going to be cool. And like I said before, getting 2 combiners in 1 year, that's really pushing it, Hasbro, because I don't know how distribution is going to be on these things for stores and online stores. It seems like you get 2 months to maybe get these things before they're sold out, and then they're $300 on eBay. But here he is with the blue images of where the actual jets will be on the leg and on the arm. Anyway, this thing, it looks like Menasor, or it looks like Superion, so that's good. That's all that we really wanted. We wanted an actually accurate representation of the cartoon, at least I did. So that's what we're getting. So that's nice. And like I said, collecting these things is going to be expensive. I mean, the smaller ones, they're not expensive, but having the commander class for this and then the commander class for Devastator in the same year, that's really expensive to do that. But okay, I'll let it go this one time because we got to get this stuff so it's done, because I'm trying to end my collection eventually here, and I have to get these main things before I can just go, okay, I got the actual ones that I wanted, and now I'm out. Because down the road, they'll be doing Transformers that I didn't care about, and I just want to get these ones done. But yeah, this is nice. It's cool that they're doing this. It looks good. I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm just saying that this is going to kill a lot of people's wallets. So moving on to killing wallets, this actually, I'm not going to buy this at all. I'm literally going to talk about this because of you guys might want me to talk about this. But this is the Star Optimus Prime. This is a Japanese Optimus Prime. I don't know any history on this. I'm literally a newbie when it comes to this, okay? So bear with me on this. This is the box art for this, and apparently in Japan, they decided to continue the saga of Transformers, and they did a new version of Optimus Prime. I have seen this cartoon version of Optimus Prime. I've seen images and everything, so I know what he looks like. I just never understood. I just don't understand why they're doing him as the 13th Prime. I believe he's the 13th Prime. I don't think that he would be. I don't think they should have an Optimus Prime, a current Optimus Prime or whatever, be the 13th Prime. I think that there should be 13 Primes in the history, and then we are talking about them, not this current Prime. But this thing is huge. It's not as big as like a giant it's not as big as Tidal Wave or something like that, or Omega Supreme, I don't think. But this is one of the bigger scale things, and they're going to give you all these extra parts and all this stuff to make up for it. But it's still a cheaper Transformer than those other ones because it's not an actual Titan class figure. But in robot form, I can see why people might want this, because it does look kind of cool. It seems a little chunky, so it's like he can't really bend his legs very well. It looks like his arms are it looks like you can bend the arms and do stuff with the arms, but I just really can't get into this, okay? And for the cost, there's just no way I'm going to buy this. There's no way I'm ever going to buy this. And transforming it into its vehicle form and all that stuff, I'm not interested in the designs for the base mode, or even the vehicle form is kind of weird to me. It doesn't look right. It just looks like something you'd see in a Japanese anime, and that's what this basically is. This is a Japanese anime Optimus Prime for the most part. That's the way it comes off to a person who doesn't know much. And you can scream at me in the comments because I don't know what I'm doing with this, but I just don't have any need for this. I'm not going to waste my money on this, especially when I got multiple combiners coming out and I have to get those to finish those characters in my collection. And that can be expensive. And I don't want to be blowing all of my money on Hasbro when I have other things I could pay for and buy and pay bills and stuff, especially with the cost of everything being high. But yeah, this is interesting. I don't know. I just am not really into it. And I know Hasbro is trying to sell us a lot of stuff because it's all about money for them. But for me, this is just one thing that's going to save me money, actually, because I'm never going to buy this. And this is the set when you get it, like the vehicle form and the robot form with the open chest. It's got the little hot rod in there. And it comes with a little hot rod. At least they gave you another figure to go with it, I guess, but it's a small hot rod. And those yellow wings that are on the legs there, they should be on the back of Hot Rod's shoulders, but okay. Anyway, the base mode looks like a mess to me. I don't know what the base mode looked like in the cartoon, but for me, I look at this base mode and it looks like Optimus Prime just laid down, opened his chest, and his arms are out holding guns, and it just looks weird to me. And the actual vehicle form, I don't like it all because it looks like that truck is underneath there. and the trailer's like too long. There's just too much going on. It doesn't look, it looks cheap almost in the front there, like because the semi truck doesn't like it doesn't come apart from the actual trailer. It's just weird. It's like, how's he gonna turn? I don't know. I just don't like this design. This is not for me. So if it's for you, then great. I'm glad that you like it. And if you got the money, then go ahead and buy it. I just look at this as, this is insanity that this is going to be a thing. But I knew that they're going to start doing Japanese Transformers eventually, and that's great and everything. This is just not for me. The Optimus Prime that I can't get enough of is the one I already got, and that's the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime, the G1. That's just the G1 Prime all the way around, and I just love that. I can't get enough of that Prime. I got that. I'm so happy with it, and I'm never going to really say that anything beats that other than the Armada Prime. I do like the Armada version of Prime, the one that they came out with in the last couple years. That one is good too. And the Ultra Magnus, the Studio Series Ultra Magnus. Those are the three big ones that I liked. But this is everything you get in the box. All these blast effects, all this extra stuff, guns, blast effects, hot rod down there. It's just too much for me. So I'm not going to get into it. So I just figured I would talk about this because I'm sure people want to hear about this. And I know a lot of people are talking about all these Transformers, and I felt like if I just left this out, people would be like, well, why didn't you talk about that Prime? Well, it's because I'm not really into it. And just, that's the way it is. So I'm just giving my thoughts on these things, and that's how I feel. Okay, so now that I'm done talking about that Optimus Prime, let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. For some weird reason, they decided to put Sonic the Hedgehog into the Transformer universe in this crossover, and I never would have thought that we would have seen a Sonic the Hedgehog Transformer. That's very strange, let alone two figures from the Sonic universe. Well, anyway, this actually looks pretty good, actually. I mean, I wasn't going to talk about this, but seeing how this, like, because I played this game where they're the Sonic racing games, and I think they're really good. And seeing this car, it's a cool looking car. It feels like Sonic, and then the robot form actually looks like Sonic. This looks really good. And it has that Bumblebee kind of feeling where the car parts on the front of the car turn into the feet and all that. So it actually looks like a good Transformer. It looks really interesting to see this. So I'm really curious about this set, and a small part of me wants to buy this, but I feel like it's going to be expensive because it's two figures. But here's Tails, and this is even cooler. He turns into the airplane, which is really cool that he actually, I don't know, it looks like there's a few extra parts in the back there that might get in the way. But it's really cool how they actually figured out a way to turn Tails into this airplane and have him still feel like Tails, you know? And I don't know, I just think this looks cool. I don't know what the deal is with this, but I don't know, I never would have thought that we would have got transforming Sonic racing figures that turn into Sonic and Tails. And I don't think we're going to get the other figures in that whole race or whatever, but I'm just saying that it's really cool that they did this, and it's a cool crossover. And it shows that Hasbro's actually being creative and coming up with new things instead of just making the same old thing over and over again. So I guess I got to give them credit for that, because this is a very different thing than I thought I'd be talking about when I talk about these Transformers and stuff. That's why I figured I'd cover this at the end, because this is just a different, bizarre thing. But yeah, this is the box with the two figures in the box and everything, and the box back and all that stuff. And it looks really good. I even like the boxes. They feel like Sonic Racing, like the video game, you know, and it just looks like Sonic, and everything looks great. So I don't know. I just think this is interesting. I don't know if I'd ever buy it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But it just looks cool. So if you're a Sonic fan, that's definitely something you want to pick up. It makes me wonder, are they going to do Mario next? That would be very strange to see a Mario transform into maybe a Mario Kart car. I figured they would have done that before they got to Sonic, but anyway. So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. I got a lot of stuff I talked about through this, and I just wanted to kind of cover everything from the Transformer or the Cybertron Con 2024. A lot of great new images came out and everything, and I'm glad to see some of these things. I'll probably talk more on some of these other things when we get better images. But for now, tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.